We are live. Did I scare you, Mike? See,
Yeah.
but nevertheless, we are live. Welcome in, everyone. My name is Blake Ruffino. This is Mike Jones. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Mike, with the first pick in the AYS draft. AYS has chosen Mike Jones Jr. to join us on this gracious Friday. Mike, how are you?
Man, I'm good, man. Excited for the spring game tomorrow.
All right. I'm ready to. So listen, I got to control myself because see, I can't say things with you on here that I want to say, like, the old football saying, like, go clap that dude in the face, like stuff like that. Like, I want to see Mike Jones clapping dudes all over the park, like your biblical name can't be said when Mike Jones. I mean, because you look, this is what needs to be chanted Saturday. Okay, like this is what we need to happen. But I'm excited. You're excited, Mike. This being your last spring game, man. I mean, it's got to be exciting for you.
Yeah, man. It's crazy to think about how many spring games I've had, and that this is like actually the last one. It's just been crazy, man. I remember being a freshman and I enrolled early, so the spring game was like my first time playing, and I was so nervous. I was sick to my stomach. And now I'm like, I'm a veteran. Like, I'm just going to go out there and play. So it's crazy to think just how much I've grown up, and I'm super excited, man. Ready to have one fun last spring game.
All right, we'll stay on that because we're going to, right after the break, we got to talk about our good sponsors who sponsor this segment. But keep that thought. I think that we need to marinate that. And it's an interesting question and a thought process when you talk about early enrollees and you being an early enrollee. I want to touch on that when we come back. Let's talk about, though, very quickly, our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Guys, give them a call at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600, or go over to the drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Real estate, title, successions, criminal defense, whatever you need, they literally do it all. The reason they're the number one team and lawyers in the North Shore is because how dedicated they are to their clients. Again, that's the Drake Williams Law Firm, the drakewilliamslawfirm.com, who is sponsoring this segment with us with Mike Jones. So, Mike, you bring up an interesting point, okay? You said that you came in early, right? You were an early rollee, right?
Yep.
All right, so you were nervous, sick to your stomach. Did that help you, though, going into fall, though? I mean, I know that there wasn't a lot of fans there, probably. I mean, not like a regular game in Clemson, but
Yeah.
How did it prepare you, though, going into that first game when you were a true freshman?
Yeah, it kind of just helped me settle down, like high school games aren't as big as college. And so spring game was the most people that had ever been to a game like I was playing in at that point. And so it just like made me realize, like, at the end of the day, it's all football. It's a little louder, it's a little crazy, but at the end of the day, it's all ball.
Right. Well, and it is, but I mean, look, I always, Mike, at least for me, I don't know about you, I always used to get like, I don't want to say butterflies, but even when I come on this show, I mean, look, we're almost 500 episodes in, I get butterflies, but I mean, you're going to probably have butterflies this Saturday, right? Even though you've done this countless times.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm not. Usually I don't get them until like right before I got to go on the field. Like, I'll be good.
Oh yeah.
It'll be like, all right, defense, you're up, and I'm like, oh.
Right, dude. Kickoff, I'm like, oh. It always, are you like, Mike? You got to get that first hit in, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's
absolutely. After that, I'm like, okay, you know what? It's okay. It's just a game. But before then, oh my gosh, I'd be about to the point where I'm almost throwing up.
I completely feel you. Well, look, what are you looking to, Mike? Get out of this? I mean, look, I know you get the reps, you get to go against good competition. I mean, look, you got a guy like Will Campbell who's coming in. I mean, a guy that you haven't seen a lot of other than this spring. And look, there's a lot of things to that we can go here. But what is Mike Jones Jr.? There's our producer Zach, who's rudely jumping in here. But what are you looking forward to? Like, what do you want to portray on film?
I would say myself, just, continue to do the things I've done well all spring. I want to build on it, finish this out strong, do a good job taking on blocks, defeating blocks, do a great job of communication. And I would just say for defense, just having everybody go out there and execute. I feel like this spring, like I've seen the level of how good we can play. And so now it's, let's just do that again. Let's be consistent. Let's take us into the mindset of, we're playing the game, like let's go try to do this drive after drive after drive. And so seeing those things, if we can get that done, I can get those things done. I'll leave the spring game, happy.
All right, and so I like that. So it's a little bit different. Brian Kelly announced that you guys are going to get points for like tackles for loss, sacks, interceptions. Mike, do you try to get maybe strip a ball a little bit more than maybe focus? Is that a focus? Like, hey man, I'm trying to win. I got to strip this ball from John Emery.
See, so Coach House, when I tell you, every day when we start practice, we do a whole turnover circuit. So that's one thing I've thought like has been so interesting because I know teams like everybody works like taking the ball away, but we do it every day, and it's like we work all these little things. And so as a defense, I feel like that's just how we go into like practice. Like we built that habit up to where now, guy catches the ball, like you gonna have 2 or 3 guys punch at it, try to punch the ball out. Guys run the ball, guys trying to punch it out, rip it out. Any ball on the ground, if the receiver drops a pass, we scooping and scoring it like it's a fumble, touchdowns. So yeah, that's all our mindset. And so I'm thinking, just because we've been training those habits before this whole time, that we're gonna find a way to get some points. We're gonna put points up on the board. And so yeah, that's definitely a goal.
Well, look, I know Brian Kelly said that he doesn't like that kind of spring game. I actually kind of like it a little bit more. Like, Look, I'm an offensive lineman. I don't hang out with you defensive dudes. Like, hey, it didn't come until later in my college career. I'm like, hey, this guy actually is a lot like me, and a brotherhood kind of started. But speaking of that, there was another thing that Brian Kelly had mentioned. At practice, there was a little bit of jawing. Defense gets a turnover, but then, all of a sudden, there's some jawing. But then Brian Kelly tries to bring it to the brotherhood, not to talk about the specifics. But Mike, from the outside looking in, now I don't want to talk about last year, but just talking about like how much the brotherhood has grown, it does seem from the outside looking in that you guys are a little bit closer than maybe I remember. Do you feel that? Is there something that, am I on to something there, or do you feel that too?
Yeah, definitely, man. And I think it really started with like our accountability teams, like we all got competitive with those. And so now you're relying on guys more that like you might not have been as close with. And so now it's like everybody's kind of like, super meshed up. And then of course, coach defense, Coach House is like got us all like we're like, I feel like we're like the freaking 300 Spartans out there. Every single like we all move.
Is Sparta. So Mike, when you get a sack, you got to do the Leonidas kick when he kicks old boy in the well, right? Like how you get like Street Fighter, Sonic Boom, so that will be the AYS known that you're thinking of us. But you already said though, when you celebrate, you're kind of like, I really don't remember that, but you got to give us the Leonidas kick.
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually really dope, and I'm gonna try to remember that.
Cool. So listen, as a fat guy who touched the ball in every play but never scored, in our minds, we think about, like during the movie The Replacements, if a fat guy is going to score, we have a tier, Mike, of things that we would do. Okay, basically, do you do the fat guy spike? Do you do a fat guy dance? Do you hit the gritty? Like I'm not really coordinated. I got big ass cleats on. They're taped up. This my, how do I do this? But I would love to see the Leonidas kick though.
Hey man, I'm telling you, I'm putting it in here. So whenever I do it, don't act surprised.
Oh, dude, let me just tell you this. You know how I can be on social media. I'm gonna lose my absolute mind when you do it. You hear me? No one's gonna be able to tell me anything. It's gonna be glorious. Mike Jones Jr., starting middle linebacker, joining us. Mike, the world found out because all the questions coming in for you so far is congratulations. But Mike, you knew this a little bit a couple weeks ago. We just announced that the AYS team's getting a little bit bigger with my wife being pregnant. So I just wanted to, because there's so many comments flying in about it. Thank y'all so much. But Mike did know you. Mike, I should have given you what if Mike Jones would have reported it from your Twitter account sources? We should have done something like that.
Now,
Called you the Mike Jones, Adam Schefter, right? Like the LSU Schefter.
breaking.
Here comes a Woj bomb from Mike Jones. Mike, aren't you supposed to be on the field practicing? Sorry, coach. I got to report this big news about Blake Ruffino. So thank you so much, guys. Mike, you talked about John Emery a couple weeks ago, and he came back to practice yesterday. And look, a lot of people were just surprised at his focus. I mean, look, you're a running back, he's a running back, you're a linebacker. I mean, man, that going out to practice, that matchup seems more intense between the two of you. Can you touch on that a little bit? Maybe the respect that both of you are gaining for one another because of that?
Yeah. Definitely, man. I can say from my side, man, like, he's a very elite player, man. The dude changed direction. It's crazy. So, I know every time I'm on the field and he's on the field, hey, lock in. We can't let this man dog us. You know what I'm saying? He's that guy. I'm trying to be that guy too. So in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a little personal matchup. I gotta win this one.
Well, Mike, look, you're known for having really, from a linebacker's perspective, elite speed for your position. Okay. What does Mike Jones say to a running back or a guy when you track him down? Do you be like, come on, dog, I'm 25, 30 pounds heavier than you, and I just tracked you down? Is that kind of stuff you say to him, Mike?
There's more of you can't get away from me. I'm on you.
You're like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, right? Get over here. That's
Get over it. Yeah, that's my mindset.
I love it. I love it. So look, tomorrow's going to be a really good day, the first spring under Coach Kelly. But Mike, look, we talk about spring all the time. And after the baseball season, everything's going to be focused on you guys in the fall. But Mike, summer's here. Okay. I mean, literally, we're only about a month away until it really starts picking up to get ready for August or September.
Yeah.
What process are you getting ready for in this offseason? What is Mike Jones going to be doing to get ready for this offseason, to get ready for Florida State? What's that routine like for you?
Yeah, man. So it's kind of a lot, because like there's like different sides of it. Whenever we get the breaks to go home, it's like, how am I going to, find a way to dedicate to my craft, at home. And then there's also, workouts and stuff like that here. Like one thing like I wanted to work on, and it's just a part of the game, being able to execute when you're extremely tired. And so I was actually talking to Coach House about this. It was like yesterday. And so like I know like whenever I'm going home, like that's like one of my emphasis for the summer. Like whenever I go home, I'm gonna go work out with this track coach, and I'm like gonna tell him like run me to death. And whenever you do, I'm like give him a list of like some calls, some things to write out. Ask me questions when I'm dead tired. Ask me questions, and I'll give you back the answer. Just like to work on being able to think in these times when like it might be a super long drive. They done drove right away down the field, and now it's second and goal, and you got to lock in, bow your neck, and find a way to execute. And so, just finding ways to target specific things like that, man. That's what I really feel like the summer is about, because like I think of it like this, like the product I'm trying to put out on Saturdays during the season, it doesn't just happen,
right?
That build up over time. But I think of like the summer is like, okay, now we packaging, we putting the bow on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we want to be? How are we going to be when it gets to the season? Whoever I'm going to be, it's finished. It's finished during the summer. So it's all about the work I'm putting in there. So my mindset is I got to go get it. I'm trying to have my craziest summer ever. So when it's time to play, it'll leak up to the work that I put in.
So talk about that. I mean, Mike, is that something that you came up with the running and then answering the question? Is it something that you've been put through before? And I know you just said you talked to Matt House about that. Where did you come up with that? Now, look, I look, as a fat dude, there's only one thing that I'm thinking about when I'm running is when is this shit over with? But so where did you learn that? Because that's very unique in the way that you're doing. Where did you get that from?
Coach House.
Okay. All right. That's what
I asked him like how is that something I can train? How can you train, being able to think like that whenever you're dog tired? He was like, while you're running, say plays, call out plays, call out formation, call out checks that you'd make with certain plays. And I was like, dude, like, you're a genius. No, I don't think no coach. No. How do you think of that?
Well, it's like he's kind of done it before,
Yeah,
like, huh?
Had to. He
Speaking of
said,
breaking news and sources, huh?
yo, I'm telling you, man, I'm like being in the league around them guys, like I'm finding out the little ways that they learn stuff. He has one thing, man, like to work on like our peripheral vision. He says, watch ESPN, and while you're watching, try to read the ticker the whole time. That's actually really challenging, but like that's something like guys don't even think about to work on, and that's a way you can, develop that thing.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go try and do that now, and I'm gonna tell you something. If I'm elite at that, you're gonna know sources. I just read the ESPN ticker. I'm I'm just letting you know that. That's just the truth. That's really interesting. There's different ways. You got guys like Will Campbell gaining 17 pounds. He said, Mike. Now look, I don't mean this in any kind of a way, but physically. Now you're talking about mentally, but since Coach Flint's been here, physically, have you noticed a difference in yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Trimmed down some weight, added some muscle. I feel like they had me in great shape, coming into spring ball. Now they was running the dog mess out of us. Like after Mardi Gras, I was like, this is the sickest thing anyone's done. How do you do this after a holiday? They tried to kill us. But yeah, he had us in a position that's ready to get us ready to play. And so like I'm like completely trusting whatever we do in the summer, when it's time to transition into fall camp mode, I'll be good to go.
I see you with the 615 sports training.
Yeah.
Is that where you're going to go to get run at or run a lot at? What's 615 sports training?
It's a little facility in it's like in the Nashville area, Tennessee.
Yeah, it is. It is 615. I feel you.
But now I'll probably go there maybe like a couple days. But I'm gonna actually go down and work out in Florida, stay with my pops for a little bit. Because it gets super hot down there, and the only way I can try to get ready for that Louisiana summer is you got to be where it's hot, and so I'm gonna be down there in Florida getting it in.
So we went on a mini staycation, like vacation this week. Now you can't see it, but you know how dark of an Italian man I am. I'm burnt, dog, to a crisp. All right, don't let the beach play with you like that, like it did me. Okay, I'm burned. Okay, but look, when you go down to Florida, you got to do the Rocky 3 training. Running on the sand. I mean, I'm telling you, man. Do the Apollo Creed. There is no tomorrow for you. Like I need you to take a video of you running on the beach, like the Rocky Balboa music in the background. Like here I come, Florida State. Here I come, Florida State. Mike, let me ask you this. Now, don't give any trade secrets, okay? Mm-hmm. But I think this is just an interesting topic. How much film do you start watching now of Florida State or Bama or whoever? Do you start that now after spring? Like, is that when you kind of start like looking at them and breaking down their tendencies, or when do you start focusing in on something like that? I know for me, look, Mike, it wasn't until June 1st that I would really start digging into it. But now the technology has changed in 12 years. It's at the tip of your at your hand, like you don't have to go into the facility to do it. When do you start looking through film and stuff like that on teams?
Facts. That's actually something I was just asking Coach House about yesterday. Like what his plan was for the summer study, and how I should go about mine. Typically I'll start watching, maybe like around the end of May, and it's not like I'm super deep into my study, but, you just start to watch the little things. I watch maybe like, I'll watch this personnel, this week, or sometimes I'll even start with games. I'll watch this game this week, break it down, just mark little notes. I'll watch another one this week, and it kind of picks up, as we get closer. So by the time I go into fall camp, I at least have a pretty strong idea, of, how we're going to be preparing for these guys, their personnel, just different mindset I should come into, camp with like on things I should work on. Like I try to think of things they do well. I'll see other offensive linemen play. Like, okay, maybe I should focus on working my hands, as you go through camp. So when it's time, I can, defeat blocks better. But yeah, man, it kind of depends, and I'll find out more from Coach House, exactly how he wants it. But I'm definitely going to get on it, sooner rather than later.
Right, and there's sometimes, Mike, that I've learned you can overtrain, like overstudy film. Like too much gets in your brain instead of you just reacting.
Yeah.
But I think it's just so interesting now with technology. I mean, Mike, you could be laying on, be getting ready to go to sleep and watching film. Like there's no limit to it. So I just always, how it's changed and evolved. I always was wondering. We do have some questions for you, Mike, some really good ones.
Gotcha.
Brandon Reese says, #ask Mike, how was the food truck, the food from last week? The taco truck, right? That's what it was. The taco truck?
It was like I don't know, it was Southern Bistro. I don't know. I had like seafood. It was great.
It was hitting, huh?
Gosh, it was exactly what I needed in that moment.
Okay. And you were just coming out of like workouts and stuff. Coach Flynn had put you through the ringer. I get it. I like it. We're gonna have to continue to experience it. Blue Store chicken after the game. I would assume we gotta find some Blue Store chicken. I'm with you.
I'm glad you reminded me. I didn't even think about eat after.
Here's the problem, Mike, that you're going to be going to the Blue Store after the game, and my big ass is going to be in there getting red beans. That's the problem. That I'm going to be right there. Craig Granger says, #ask Mike, does Coach Kelly still do like a big cat exercise? Mike, I don't know if you basically it's just the one-on-ones. You line it up and hitting one another. Have y'all gone through something like that this spring?
Yeah, so it hasn't been as much like the big cat. We do like these super physical special teams drills. And so instead of like, us just running head at each other, we'll have like one dude is supposed to be kickoff return coverage, one dude on kickoff. They'll both run back to the spot, and then you hit. And then one dude's trying to block the other one, the other one's trying to get off. And yeah, those have gotten pretty lit,
okay.
And a lot of energy around those.
Okay. All right. Let's go out up there. Do you have like offense and defensive linemen doing that? Like, or is it just more of the skill guys?
I wish. Okay. I'm like, dude, we're over here dog tired trying to beat the brakes out of each other, and you guys over there freaking stepping around. I'm like, man, we tired. We about to go into team period. Like, we cooked.
So how was it last weekend when Mason Smith caught the punt? I mean, Brian Kelly says he's punt return 1. I mean, what was that like?
So I don't know if everybody knows, but they were like, if he catches the ball, we get to skip this tempo period. And at this point in practice,
you better
please catch the ball, please.
I knew it was coming. So that's why everybody was excited he caught it. It's like, oh yes.
Oh my gosh, dude, I literally was so happy. I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Now, was that on his first attempt, or did they give him more than one?
One of one.
Hooey.
I was so lit. I was scared. I was like, he's not gonna catch it, but maybe I can dream. I was so happy.
Hey man, don't look. We got skills too, man. Fat people are people too. I mean, I try to tell people that, but they just don't listen. Craig Granger also says, Mike, is there another young linebacker we should be on the lookout for? I know a couple of weeks ago you talked about Demario Tolan. Mike, I didn't realize how big Demario was until getting out there. I mean, look, I don't mean this in a wrong way, but no, that kid's not a freshman. Like his birth certificate's like written in crayon. I am 18. Like that man's like he's a grown man. I mean, but we talked about him, but who are some of the guys that are really doing good this spring?
Yeah, of course, Demario, man. Like I said, man, I look at him, I'm like, yo, you're a young Mike Jones, dude. Like I be watching him, I'm like really impressed because I feel like a lot of high schoolers like don't come into college like able to move well, how to have good movements, and that was always my thing. I might not be the strongest, I'm probably the fastest, but I can change the direction real good. And so I was watching him, I'm like, dude, like, what the heck? You're not like me. What are you doing? You like me. And so he's gonna be a really good player, man. He's gonna be a really good player, man. I love his mindset. And he's working through like, these indies, man, these practices we have, man, they're not easy. They're a grind for me, you know. And so to
Right.
be a guy, like I know I would have been over there like passed out, like somebody, you know,
Right.
and he's
Mike,
mm,
well, last one, and I'll let you go. You've been fantastic as always. But I did this when you came in, but I got to ask you this. I didn't ask you off air, but I got to ask you this. That sound, though, is obviously the draft sound, and it's a week away. We'll be doing a huge Believe podcast, a draft show. But Mike, it's here. So a year ago, or a year from now, you could be sitting there, about to get drafted. Do you think about that? I mean, like, man, it's so close. Do you watch what goes on with the draft? I mean, I know it's a whiles away, and you got time to for a season. You got so much you got to accomplish and want to accomplish. But in the back of your head, you keep your eyes on that.
I mean, I watch a lot for like my friends, sports, like my
Right.
team stuff, like checking, like seeing what people are saying with them. Like sometimes I'll check that stuff out. But like for myself, man, like I have to like try so hard to not think about it. I'm like, especially like times right now where I'm like, man, it's like a year away. But I'm like, just like I try to focus on controlling what I control. And so like when I think about like when I think about practice, when I think about some workouts, when I think about season, like all of it kind of like I'm like thinking about that too. I'm like, when I play, I'm setting myself up for where I'm going to be in that position. And so even though it's about the playing, deep down I'm like, like this is how I align myself to achieve my goals. So I think about it. I think about it with low key everything, but I try not to.
I hear you, but it's always interesting to learn more about the mindset of a person,
Yeah,
especially with something so unique.
yeah,
Like, hey man, but from a year from now, Mike, you're going to be in that situation, and I'm sure we'll talk to you around that same time. But I just always am interested and love to hear about it. But Mike, good luck tomorrow. Stay healthy. If you make a big play tomorrow, we can even kick this. We could start it tomorrow. Jay Daniels, Miles Brennan, John Emery, Malik Neighbors. Everybody, watch out here. Mike Jones is coming for you, right? That's what we're anticipating.
yes, yeah. Everybody's my enemy tomorrow.
So it's kind of like when Jordan came back. When you said yes, it's like, well, we asked Michael what he thought. It's like, I'm back. You're just like, Mike, do you want to hurt somebody? Yes. Okay, like that. Very short, but very sweet, but very impactful. Mike, as always, thank you, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
Appreciate it, my man.
We'll talk soon. Stay healthy, man. Stay good. Have a good game.
For sure. Yes, sir.
All right, that's our good friend Mike Jones Jr., starting middle linebacker for your LSU Tigers. Man, every week he comes on here. I got to tell you, a lot of people moan and groan and complain about name, image, and likeness, but it was very, very much been able for us to look behind the scenes, right, and talk to the player that maybe we didn't have access to before. Skipper, I see you always asking this question. I got to ask him this about trying to muff a lot of, but I keep forgetting. You're gonna have to let it be the first question. Let it be the first question. See, I missed this one too. He says, "Who does he think the best player on or fastest player on offense?" Actually, see, we talked about that. I think either last week or the week before, and it was the John Emery question about how shifty and fast that he is. So, look, we're going to continue to stay on the show, and I appreciate Mike Jones for coming. Everybody, do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Let's pay some bills around this thing. Want to talk about? I got a Rufino's Rants in store. People saying I'm pushing a narrative about LSU football. LSU takes game one from Missouri. We'll touch on that too. But let's pay some bills around this thing very quickly. Want to talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag, your number one source for all betting needs. Go over there today, betonline.ag. Use your mobile device. Use the promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. BLEAV, and you'll get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. And I want to talk about our good friends over at GM Varno and Sons and our good friends over at Manscaped as well. So stay tuned with us. We'll be here. Let's pay some bills, and we'll be right back. None better than our good friends over there. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno and Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down on the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno and Sons, go see them over at 2500 Florida Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992, 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. With the first pick in the NFL draft, Ball Saxonville has decided to pick Manscaped to stock up their Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have sponsored us and AYS to make sure that you do not get booed out of the bedroom, just like NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Support us by heading over to manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com, and use the exclusive code AYS at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Again, that's manscaped.com. Use that promo code AYS at checkout for 20% off plus that free shipping. All right, we do have our good buddy Zach that's in here with us. Our producer Zach, rudely coming in the show. Way to go, Zachy. Way to go. He's live from Baton Rouge, I believe. What are you doing ruining my show, young man?
Technology is a strange thing, man. We're actually halfway. We're in Madison, and we had to stop at Raising Cane's. So we're doing good. We're full now, and we're ready for the second half of the trip.
So what does Zach get at Raising Cane's?
I mean, there's only one option, right? It's chicken tenders.
No, do you get the Caniac? Do you get the combo? Like, what does Zach get?
I get the chicken.
It doesn't matter what you get. I'm just joking. What do you get?
I get the chicken tender sandwich. So love it.
Okay. I've never tried that. Never tried that. Been at Cane's 1,000 times. Never tried it.
Chicken tenders between some buns and some sauce. That's
about it. Pause. All right. Well, Zach's gonna be joining us. He's coming down for the spring game. Zach, stay tuned with us, buddy. We'll continue the show, but just wanted to let everybody see your pretty Tim Tebow haircut.
Oh my
and if you, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong here. You told people to DM you if you want to get together before the baseball game tonight, correct?
Yeah. Well, tomorrow before the spring game. My plan is to try and get with everybody that wants to meet up from our hashtag Twitter Space fam. They can DM me, and we're going to try, I guess, to all sit together to watch the game. So I'm excited about that, to actually get to meet some people face to face instead of ear to ear, I guess.
I hear you. All right. Well, let Big Daddy finish out the show. We'll bring you on here at the end, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. It's our producer, Zach. Gotta love him. You gotta love him. All right. We're not going to say too terribly long here. We will be doing a post-game show, though. Let me just say that to everybody that's here. We will be doing a LSU baseball post-game show. So tonight after the game, I told you we would double up twice today. We will be doing that. So stay with us. Come join us at the end of the LSU baseball game. We're going to double up on that one. Look, it's a social event. Grab you a drink. Grab you a nice cold Coca-Cola, nice cold beverage, some whiskey, a beer. It doesn't matter. And we'll just talk about what happened with LSU and Missouri as they took game one. There's a lot I wanted to say about the LSU baseball game from last night. But yet again, it's come to my attention that people feel as if that I'm pushing a narrative. Let me just say this. I know people listen to what they want to listen to, right? Like, I understand that people will only want to listen to what they want to. who's their favorite quarterback, who's their favorite running back, who's their favorite linebacker, who's their favorite safety, who's their favorite offensive lineman. I get that. But let me just make it well known, because it continues on social media about what we're doing or what I say or what I do. I could care less who is the starting quarterback at LSU. I literally could care less. I think that there's concerns around all of them that we've touched on. A lot of concerns around some. That's not me pushing a narrative for anybody. I don't care if Garrett Nussmeier is starting, although I have a lot of worries if you're starting Garrett Nussmeier over two guys with extreme experience. I don't care if it's Jaden Daniels, who did go 10-10 last year from a statistical standpoint, but does have a lot of experience. Or Miles Brennan with the same. Miles has been out for 2 years. This is what some people do on social media. You can't listen to what you think that you're hearing. Listen to the actual words. Tomorrow's going to be a big day, and we're going to get a lot of read out of a lot of things and a lot of what the team is looking like on some levels. Some levels or not. You can't chalk the spring game up as gospel. The spring football game is not gospel, right? It's not what's going to be going on in the season. But this narrative pushing of this quarterback is light years in front of another one, tell me you have no idea about college football without telling me you have zero idea about college football. Zero, zilch, nada, none. See ya, Latin, and get on your magic carpet ride and go somewhere, because you're wrong. I mean, I don't know how else to tell you. One person told me this. Get out of here with that, man. Get out of here with that. There are some things that I am looking for in this spring game. I want to see how both lines of scrimmage do. I want to see how both lines of scrimmage looks. But just because I want to see how they look does not mean that we're going to get a determination of what's going on. So I hope that we're all clear on that. Okay. All right. Well, look, since we are doing a post-game show, we will probably cut this one a little bit short today. Okay. But we are going to be coming back live at the end of the game tonight. So stay tuned, stay with us tonight. We'll be back. So looking forward to seeing you guys again soon in a couple hours. We'll see you then. We'll pick it back up then. Thanks out and shout out to Mike Jones Jr. And we'll be doing a post-game show behind the spring game tomorrow. So we got a lot of stuff to get into, but shout out to Mike Jones, and we'll see y'all again tonight after the game. See y'all soon.